we're we don't have a lot going on the minutes, but there's a lot going on. So, did everybody get the minutes from last meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Any corrections, anything you saw going on?
No. I make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay, everybody good? All in favor? Good. All right. On the financial side, we talked about that a little bit last month. We were in good shape there. I've closed a couple POs for other little things and added a few more, and I think we're gonna spend all our money this year, which is the plan. Which is the plan. Okay, so under fall planning, before I get to some of these things, Brian, how's the Arrow Foundation going up there? You guys are still out there planting? And that halfway, 3/4? Over half?
Have you started working on MBNU arborvitaes yet?
No, we're having trouble getting it marked out.
Okay, we were worried about that.
Just emails the other day and said they're running behind and
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll get them in eventually.
But we
Okay.
want to now.
Okay, well, I put Dan Emmett Park on here. We had talked earlier about, that's along Taylor Road where we have all the swamp white oaks. We talked about putting a second row in, but we have the Community Development Block Grant coming in next year, and part of that area is gonna be a retention pond. And I lobbied really hard to move the retention pond down to closer to the cemetery down along Worcester Road, between the pump house and the office, so we could keep that green space open. But as I was reminded that becomes a waterway once it gets past Taylor Road, and we're not allowed to turn a waterway into a retention pond. So the retention pond will be along Worcester Road, or Taylor Road, so we'll lose some of that planting site through there.
So do we wait until
We're-
that work is done
well-
and then we decide what we want to do there?
We're gonna do, right now the plan is to add 4 more swamp whites behind the ball diamond.
Okay.
Between the roads there, kind of in the bend, and then up closer to the restroom and the, is it called a pitcher's cage where the pitcher practice, there's a batting cage?
Okay.
Some maple, 6 maples along there.
Cool.
So
Okay.
that'll go in this year. We hope, depending on how things go here. But it's planned to get that in this year, and then after the area development block grant for that neighborhood, which we as the Shade Tree Commission committed $10,000 in trees for that program for next year when that goes on. So that'll come out of our budget. And that's a 3-phase thing. I know the first phase was Mansfield Avenue and the school and that first part of the neighborhood.
So, I mean, there's technically 3 different projects.
Okay, projects? Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's 3 phases, but yeah, there's 3 projects because we've got the CDBG, well, 4 projects. There was the traffic signals project, the CDBG neighborhoods project, the Mansfield Avenue Waterline project, and then the Mansfield Avenue Shared Use Path project.
Okay.
They're all happening
Kind of all
kind
together.
of around, in sequence.
Yeah. And as those complete, then we will be in there planting trees in that area. Okay.
So if we have shade tree people, if you have people who apply for trees in that area, do they become part of that project or do they come off of
Off of
the Tree
TCP.
City?
Um,
I'm just curious so I can go through my list and figure out who.
yeah.
I
Now,
don't think there's anyone at this point that you would worry about it.
Okay. Okay.
For this year's.
yeah, just
Not for this
Oh,
year, but for
Okay.
for next
24.
year,
For 24
24.
and forward. Yeah, I wasn't worried about this year because we're set. I'm just thinking forward. How do we?
Yeah,
Kind of like
the
I had people on my list from Syca Road that I ended up handing over, because it comes out of that
Yeah.
program. I was just trying to make
Yeah,
sense
out
of how we.
of TCP as opposed to the shade tree.
That's actually, it's a good question. I don't know that there's enough that it would make a big impact.
Okay.
So we would probably just maintain it on the TCP scope.
And if we just want to say kind of as policy, if they apply through TCP, it stays there
That's-
and the rest of it comes from some. I'm good with that. I'm just again trying to get in my head so when we
Oh.
start talking to people.
Well, I think most of the work was going to be done basically in that first, I don't know the names of the street in that area. there's Mansfield Avenue, there's Noose Road, and then there's Emmett, is it Emmett Drive and something else?
Yeah, and Belmont is south of that.
Yeah, Belmont. And aren't there, what, Decatur.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get. I knew there was another one.
Yeah, so from my understanding, most of the work was gonna be between Mansfield Avenue and the first street, which is Decatur or Emmett?
I think the first one's Emmett.
Emmett. That's my understanding from all the stuff, that was where the primary work was gonna be with this because of the stormwater, the people's yards flooding back in that part of it.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood.
That's the neighbor,
Yeah,
the
and
considered neighborhood.
this project has to be completed by October, I think, of next year.
Okay. So for
2024
TCP,
or
if it's,
2025?
if it's on,
block.
if it's on,
2024, I believe.
further east of that block, then it would be TCP. If it's in that area, it would be under shade tree.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable? And unless we come,
It might be 25, now that you say that. I can't remember.
I can't see them starting it in the spring and finishing it in the
Yeah, but
fall.
we haven't put it out to bid yet, so.
Yeah, I'm thinking 25.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, it's probably 25.
Okay. Well, that's why I had that on there to kind of talk about that a little bit. It's not on here, but we did get the pad and the arch in down at Riverside Park. The Career Center students got that finished up. It's looking pretty sharp. Did they take the extra legs down to the Parks Department, or did they take them back to Custom Cutters? You don't have them?
I haven't seen them.
You haven't seen them, okay. Custom Cutters delivered everything, and Arch Avenue Park, we had 12-foot legs because they have to be able to drive under it. And they put the arch together and stood it up, and it was the 12-foot legs. So they had to take it down, take it apart. Custom Cutters brought them the right legs, so apparently they took them back. I thought they were gonna they were gonna bring them out and you were gonna store them.
They brought him out. I was on another project. They called me. I said, I'm busy. I can't get there. Well, we'll call you back later
Okay,
to schedule an appointment with you. I haven't heard nothing.
maybe I'll get a hold of them. Custom Cutters is a local company. They do our powder coating. They have water jets and all kinds of fun tools out there, all kinds of fun toys. So that wasn't on here. So, Sandusky and High, I saw a sign said trucks entering and leaving. Does that mean they're coming into work? Coming into town today, I saw a big orange sign said,
Sandusky and High.
or Sandusky, Sandusky Street.
The sidewalk?
Yeah, the sidewalks.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the contractor is done in Mount Vernon for the year, so they won't be starting on it till next year, unless something changes that I'm not aware of.
With the sidewalks there on Sandusky, is that right?
So the sidewalks on Sandusky, not this year.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so that's good, because I was thinking about next year for that area anyways.
Okay.
It didn't happen this year.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
And I know there were a few other projects that they had planned to do before the sidewalk.
That was something I thought I was way behind the 8 ball on, but I'm not.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, well, I think there were some more tree removals in there or something that we'd talked about.
And tree plantings, we were talking about.
Well, after they finished,
Right,
yeah.
right. So I'm glad I didn't rush out a postcard or anything to that area.
Well, and then Sandusky is here because those, the 5 beech trees that we had on that corner have suffered long enough. Scott pulled them out, and we're gonna plant, they're not, it's a locust.
Yeah.
Yeah, locust trees in there, they tend to do better in those harsher environments, with that being a filled-in old home, so hoping to get that better.
So as part of the sidewalks at Sandusky, are we telling them to make the tree lawn usable, unlike Oak Street? Or do we?
It's a very different contractor from what was used on Oak Street.
Okay.
And we have had very high quality work with this contractor.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
I think it will, essentially, other than lines, you've been on Sandusky more, Brian, with Kate. I think it'll be good for planning. I don't know if we're trying to stick to yards there or tree lawn on the west side of Sandusky, but
They won't be really tearing up they shouldn't be tearing up much of the tree lawn. usually more than just a few inches on either side of the
Okay.
existing sidewalk. My understanding is they're replacing it where it is. The reason we had an issue with Oak and Catherine Street is because it was an entire rebuild of the right-of-way from right-of-way line to right-of-way line. So
Okay.
everything was taken out and redone.
So that would be something on the west end that I will need to just get a better handle on as to whether that's front yards or tree lawns. Because I know the east side of that, we're definitely tree lawn plantings. So,
I think there'll be enough room. I think it'll probably be comparable. Okay, so, where are we with our grants this year
we
so
have
far?
had a very full year. Like the Arbor Trust funds, we will
Spend your money.
spend our money. So yeah, it's just kind of prioritizing when flags need to go down. We'll be kind of determining what the pacing is for that. I think it'll be a good year, a good full year. And I'd like to focus my energies on the west end next year. Because I know Brian had mentioned that with the block grants, so I don't know what the status is with that, because I know that at both Alistair and Brian have mentioned the west end. West end, Alistair is saying being eligible. Brian said he wanted to target that, so I'm not sure if there's something we will be able to work with.
Well, the Alistair's grant is that's the Urban Forest Canopy grant. Yeah, they were eligible for that grant, but that grant doesn't. I haven't heard anything more about that.
Neither have I. So I was wondering if you had heard anything.
No,
So is there anything on Brian's interest in the west end? Will there be other grants for that, or?
specifically for trees. I'm not entirely sure. I know that we are planning to do some work there, some probably major work if we can get the funding for it. That wouldn't necessarily be in the tree lawn, but it would probably be accompanied by some removals of the older trees that are dying out there.
And that's
would warrant planting.
that's a tree lawn area that people generally park in, because there's no efforts to like do curbs or anything like that, is there?
That could be
There
part
could
of
be
an
part of it?
upcoming
Okay.
project,
So-
but it's hard to tell.
I've had a lot of interest in that area, and I would like to kind of broadly target the west end with some of with the grant
For
for
2024.
2024.
I think that's a reasonable thing. All right, well, yeah, all the other grant stuff was like at the high school, and all that's done. The planting there
We
by
had
the,
removals. We have some other plantings still to go in, at central offices and at the middle school. SOS took out some things. We have plantings at MBNU. We have, Knox DD. We have the Humane Society. We
Oh,
have
yeah.
the Dog Pound. We have a huge slew of
we got a
things.
lot of stuff on the list. Okay.
I could,
I thought I
there's
had
some planting on St. Vincent, there's the Martinsburg Road Division Street area with High Point Church. I mentioned those, some other Ariel Foundation park plantings, Memorial Park and Ride, Riverside, those are all some replacements. What we're finding that is happening is we have inquiries, we have people like Knox DD, Humane Society that are asking for trees, but we also have maintenance costs. As trees have died, there's like the removals at, or I'm talking about Ariel, Mount Vernon. We have those 4 big oaks. I think we're planting some things there. So we're finding that as our program is getting bigger, we have to kind of balance needs of new with old, and yet not being so exclusive that we can't handle other neighborhoods that don't know to ask. So we have it, and it's kind of an interesting thing. It's a good thing. But yeah, I'm finding Maintenance issues, when I say maintenance, that just means things die. Things need planted, things didn't work. We have to go back. It's not a one and done. You don't finish the project one year and move on and never have to go back to that neighborhood again. It's once you have things, you maintain them. And so I'm finding that some of our grant dollars will be spent on maintenance and not just always planting. And that's beyond all the work that Scott already does for us.
Yeah. Which is a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into the TCP, which you guys have got a ton of stuff to talk about on that. John, so we have 313 good water bags. Okay, buckets are good. The cages, where were those?
Out there behind the lagoons.
Oh, okay, okay. Did a lot of that come back, or we lost it all?
40-some trees died.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of like 96 or something like that, maybe 96.
So about, well, we got better than 50%, considering we didn't do anything but stick them in the ground, right?
Which trees are these?
Out by the lagoon. Did we water those?
Yeah, they had buckets on them, and then I hit them with a little, just a real light fertilizer.
So we didn't do very well at all in that area.
Well, some of those was pretty little.
Some got in them and chewed the roots off of them.
You know, some critters got in and, okay.
What kind of trees were these?
There were
Oak.
those oaks, were there
Oh,
sycamore?
I'm sorry, I'm talking apples, you're talking pears, you're talking over by
The lagoon.
lagoons. I just looked at those again. A lot of those got girdled with rodents around the base of them.
Okay.
Is that, yeah. Is that
They're-
what you're talking about getting too long?
Too far off the beaten path to scare them away or something, huh?
There's still some that I think they'll be okay. The sycamores are, those were big johns, they're fine. But when they get grass around them, like having the mice and the rabbits and stuff, when it gets real bad, especially when there's a lot of snow, the smaller rodents, they'll chew on the bark, and if they do it enough, they'll actually girdle the tree all the way around.
Okay. What's a T-post? What are those? I don't recall. You got 5-foot and 7-foot T-posts.
Steel fence post.
Oh, okay, the steel fence post, okay. That's, okay. I didn't know that's what they were called. Hey, I learned something. It's always fun.
They're shaped like a T.
Oh, yeah, with the thing down at the end. Okay. And then the tree guards, are those the plastic ones?
Yes, there's various lengths.
Okay.
Some of them are like cage, and some of them are like corrugated pipe.
Okay.
So is that just, those haven't been used, or have they been used and or waiting to be used?
I think about half of them have been used.
Okay.
The other half are new.
So we could probably use some of those for some of our plantings next year.
I could use a couple to keep the cats from.
Cats?
Cats. My name.
Get you a dog.
Yeah, we'll discuss this, but yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
kidding. Go ahead.
All right, well, we typically plant around 300 trees a year. And we have 313 usable water bags. So I got an email from AM Leonard here not long ago. They were offering a deal on them. So should we
So
consider
we
buying some
are-
more water bags?
Yeah, because I think we're at, around 300.
So we're gonna be.
We're
using
pushing
what we
it,
have.
and
I think we need to
sometimes
get
when
some.
you
Okay.
open the bags up at the start of the year, you get numerous calls because of people saying that they're leaking. Now, I go out with my waterproof Gorilla Tape, and I'd fix it myself, because I'd rather that than taking
Yeah,
the
it was
bag.
it was
So
a
most of the time
$20
they can be
bag.
fixed, but I would say if we ordered another, I don't know, how are they sold, Jim?
I think they're sold in lots of 100, but I'll
I would say
25
25
in a box.
25 in a box.
But
So,
we'll,
I would say
We'll do
2 to
that
3
after the first of the
boxes.
year. We'll
Yeah.
get that straightened out. We'll get some more
Say,
orders.
see where the price break is. I mean, if it's a price break for 4 boxes, get 4 boxes.
It's a
I
kind
think,
of.
I think we got our best deal last time. We bought like 300, but that's been a couple years ago.
I don't think
I
we
don't need that
need
many.
300, but I think if we maybe do 100 every other year or so, we can kind of maintain a healthy supply with
keep it
Gorilla
up.
Tape.
Okay.
The waterproof version.
Kinda. Unless we get really ambitious and start planting more trees.
Yep, we're at that point, so.
More power to us, right? Okay. Okay.
Thank you. This is really helpful, because now I'm gonna put it in my notebook, so I know exactly how many things.
So where we are, yes,
Yeah.
that's good info. So, like I said, I want to talk about TCP, but Scott,
Yes.
do you want to give us a quick update, what you've been
that
doing?
would be great.
Let's let him do his thing.
Sound like Rice Krispies.
I don't follow the agenda very well.
Sorry, I was late. I had another meeting kind of run over. So, this is, I think, the last month on the grant for me, and what I'm planning on doing is getting the rest of the stakes. And also, we have some dead trees between Lowe's and the hospital there that need to be removed. I'm going to get those, and then there's a hibiscus that needs trimmed up down on the west end so they can see better pulling out. That is going to probably take up the rest of the time for this month.
Are you saying November, or are we just saying October?
Actually, it should have ended in October, but when the weather went south,
Okay.
this will be the last invoice I give
Okay.
you for this year.
Okay.
The burn. Did you already talk to him about the burn? Or anything?
No, we haven't gotten it.
I went over to Aerial Foundation, helped the fire department with the burn. Went pretty good. I mean, the wind was a little brisk, so it kind of burnt underneath and didn't get everything up on top. But it'll be manageable. And I talked with the fire chief. This will be something that is like every other year or something like that to keep everything cut. I told him it would be wise because most of the autumn olive that was treated, well, all the autumn olive that was treated is dead. So you could hit it with a brush hog now and just to, chop it up. So I discussed that with Mike Miller that was over there, and he's going to talk to the board about it. And then most of you probably already heard, I'm running for county commissioner
Oh, no.
for Knox County. You didn't know that? I thought I texted you. But anyways, I don't plan on that. That's always been something that is I've always wanted to do, but it's also something that you can still do another job with as well.
Okay, I was starting
No.
to sweat over here.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Because I also have been in talks with the parks too since Mark left about participating over there some. So I don't know which way they're going, and quite frankly, I'm really pretty happy where I'm at.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. I'm good, and if I get the county commissioners,
Yeah.
if I get the county commissioners appointment, that's going to be in a year anyways. The primary is in March, and then the next election's in November, so that's a year away. Doc called me about, for some reason I don't have John's number for
Oh,
the
John.
career center.
Okay,
If you
we'll
could,
get-
sometime when you send that to me, he wanted me to get with them and do some oops and work with them.
Is that
Right,
gonna
the
work?
week of deer season, for crying out loud, Doc.
Yeah.
But I'll make it work. I'll get with John and we'll get a schedule together and we'll make it work. Okay, especially. Sorry. It's probably my reminder about the meeting. I didn't turn it off. But especially if he's got a dingo and stuff that can auger holes, we should be able to get them done. So I have to be present when they do it because I'm going to run the oops through my business. So I'll actually be liable. So I need to be there when they're augering holes and tearing up stuff. And with those kids, I need to be there anyway. So I do think this time, before we've gotten away, and the cemetery's not too bad. When I was there and they planted the trees, there's a few that need straightened a little bit, but I think we might want to go ahead and get some stakes.
I thought about that today.
And I would love to show the young lads and ladies how to stake a tree down, so they, so that we don't have to go back and go over
Are we talking
again.
about the ones we planted last year?
No, I'm talking about the ones coming this month, yeah.
But the ones he planted last year at the cemetery, some of those.
Yeah,
We saw it down on Howard Street too.
yes, boy, that
Well, the
wind.
wind blows.
Yeah, and those sycamores, I mean, and most of them's in pretty good shape. There's a few stakes I gotta get rid of down there yet too. But other than that, that's what I'm planning on doing this month. And I'll keep you posted on the
Baking
other stuff.
trees and what were the other highlights you said?
The dead trees between Lowe's and the hospital. And the only stakes that are left are out at the high school, around the soccer fields, and up on that hill. So, and the hill's already been fertilized. I already took care of that. So I'm going to hit some of those bald cypress and stuff that are out at those soccer fields and things. I'm going to give them a good dose of fertilizer and let that melt down through there over the winter. So.
Well, the trimming that you did along the sweet gums looks really good at the bottom.
You know what was cool? I seen on someone took a picture on Facebook and had a picture of them all
They're
up,
beautiful.
all up through there, and they looked really nice. And I told Julie, I said, I not tell Julie you said something. I go, see, look. I go, you did a nice job.
I
said, "They
saw
look
I
great."
saw you both out there.
Yeah, she's my right hand gal. She keeps me straight. And
We
keeps me
appreciate her
focused.
work too.
Yeah, she's a good kid. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to stakes, removals, and some fertilizer, and then I'll work with the Career Center on getting those other trees planted for you. How many, Doc? How many did you say there was? 80, 83?
Iowa Park, I think it's 86,
86. Okay.
what my plan is.
Okay. Alrighty. We'll get them done. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If I
And
have
he
to.
thought he could do Sandusky and High and Dan Emmett Park too. We'll see.
Okay. Sandusky and High would not be bad. I mean, are you guys
It's like-
just going to put some?
It's 6 trees, just locusts,
Yeah.
and then it's only 10 trees at Dan Emmett.
Oh well, goodness sakes.
He thought
yeah.
he could do that pretty quick.
Yeah, we planted what 17 or 18 in the morning. Granted, that was some pretty nice dirt too. That was all topsoil. So, but do you have any questions or anything for me or? Okay.
So you talked with the Conservancy about doing the brush hog?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mentioned to him because I told him the very least that they should brush hog is where we cleared everything off with the forestry head.
Yeah.
Because if we hit that, if they hit it again now, or I told them I'd even do it if they get a brush hog and a tractor. But if we hit it again now, and then we hit it again in the spring, then ODNR will probably leave us be for a little bit because they don't want you to mow that and make it look like a yard. But if we're doing it to keep evasives down, and they've had a lot of stuff out, so they should not have an issue with that. We'll keep it, shin high, knee high. But if you mow it down, then you'll get that poison ivy killed out, and it makes it easier in the spring when I go back to spot spray and to do that. So
Would you do the pollinator area at the same time?
more than likely, if that's what they want me to do, or if I can,
If
yeah.
that's what they,
That
Yeah.
is what the Conservancy is looking
Is it okay?
yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
that needs to be taken care of too.
Yeah, and there was just some concern about the goldenrod because we didn't get a lot of the seeds taken care of, and we'll figure out something. If you have to have another burn again, and sooner than we could, it's just the wind kind of caught it and it just skated right underneath it, and you got all these nice fuzzy goldenrod seed pods that didn't get hit with fire. So, but I guess that we could rent me a flamethrower and I could go out there and just.
Yeah, we can go Harbor Freight and get one of those propane torches.
I actually have one of those.
I'll carry the tank and you can just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Put the tank on the four-wheel.
You wanna get in there?
I'm in. Let's go.
We'll use a wagon then, we'll two of them. We'll get that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure we could plumb up something. We could have fire going every which way.
Yeah, I have.
All right.
And then
Okay, well, I'm going to take off. Like always, don't hesitate to give me a call if you got a question.
Oh,
or
yeah, I
anything,
will.
Okay?
Thank you for what you've done. We
Oh.
do appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
I was admiring your sweet gum.
Yes, that's the only time of the year I like sweet gums.
Have you seen them, Brian? I mean, they're
just
beautiful right now.
Dirt trees.
Okay, well, let's get to the TCP. We'll go ladies first. Sarah, what do you got?
Well, I guess, do you want the final count? Is
that?
Let's go for it.
I have
I'm,
it if you
I'm
need
at
it.
36.
36?
For the Syker Road neighborhood. So.
That's pretty good. That's more than we're getting on Martinsburg Road and Division Street.
Yeah, and I think more people were interested, but they, when I tried to contact them, didn't respond
For a
after
first,
the postcard. But
for a
so there
first
might be a
year,
second.
That's yours.
There might be a second round of
Oh,
responses. So.
it usually is. Everybody sees the new tree and they go, oh, I want one of those.
Right.
36, that's good. I appreciate that. So,
I judge it by how full the page is.
how full the pages are. When do you want them to start flagging for those TCPs?
Probably pretty shortly. Let's wait just a little bit until
Like,
it's ready to start. So
like before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving,
probably after Thanksgiving.
after Thanksgiving?
Probably a reflagging. I actually,
Yes.
either I or Brian and I stuck in flags initially, but I think some might be.
Oh,
It's
they
a
get
check
moved.
and a little
Yeah.
splotch of white paint.
Oh, I get the white paint.
Yeah, you get to use the white paint too, yeah. Yeah.
Official.
And then it'll snow and they won't be able to see it. Yeah, 'cause and that's what happens.
Happens.
All right, good deal. All right, Wayne, what you got?
At 34 trees in 21 homes. That makes sense. So some people
Okay.
had multiple trees. I've got some people that I'm going to reapply for them for next year because they wanted 5 trees. I'm like, okay, we'll give you 2 this year. Brandon and I spent a lot of time, talking to some of these people saying, yeah, let's just make sure, let's get you a couple in this year. We'll do a couple more next year. But yeah, I think people were pretty.
Were you kind of citywide or were you in a
I'm
neighborhood?
citywide.
You were citywide.
Yeah, I take care of the emails,
Okay.
the email requests,
And-
and then we've got a nice list for next year already.
Yeah, can you and I just touch base on a few of those just to see if they made it on your list or if they're not on your list? Just the ones that applied late in September. I wasn't sure if they got on or not.
So yeah, the last 2 I have are Concord and Gambier.
Okay.
That was where we stopped. That's where I stopped.
September 13th, I think, around
Yeah.
that date. Yeah. 'cause
I don't
know-
have that on my. I cut that off when I printed it because it was too small.
And Judy, I know, had given me another one today. So let's just
they'll
we'll
go
touch
into
base.
24 because that
Oh,
was-
that's what I already said.
Yeah.
I
We-
said,
Yeah.
no, it won't be till
Yeah.
next fall.
Yeah. So, but then Thanksgiving, I'll start going out and reflagging and painting and all that stuff because for the most part we know where people wanted them and we went ahead and flagged them when we could, but that doesn't mean they're still there or that they've moved them around.
Do you, were you heavier in one part of town or the other? Or was it pretty well spread around?
Pretty much all over the place for me.
Good.
Greer, High, yeah, kind of all over. Then I had a couple on my list that you ended up with, just because they fell into that
In
that part of
neighborhood.
town. Yeah, pretty much all over.
Very
So,
good. Very good, very good. 70, that's about what we've been doing every year. That's 70. We've been doing in the
That's
60.
it's a I think one year we had 80 and that was a lot. We went back to about 57 last year, so now we're kind of I think 60 to 70 is a good year.
Reasonable. Yeah, that's a good number. Very good. Very, very good. Thank you for all the help and all the work.
the other thing is, how was your range of trees? I'm just curious, types of trees.
My memory is. Let's see. I can count this way too. 1, 2,
You said
3,
you had 34.
4, 5,
I had
6, 7,
34.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12 types. If you want them by type, 6 red point maples, 1 crimson king maple, 3 green mountain sugar maples, 1 harvest gold crabapple, 3 regal prince oaks, 6 sun valley maples, 2 paper bark maples, 1 swamp white oak, 3 royal ring crabapples, 2 kusa dogwoods, 7 linden plains, and 1 Japanese ivory silk lilac.
That's a nice variety.
Well, that is really thanks
I've
to Brian's
Adirondacks,
Guidance.
purple princes, lindens. And some of them were just kind of match what was already there. We had a couple of those. Like we had one like in front of Gay Sheet United Methodist Church, my church. We had one that died, so we just replaced it. One red point maple, white oaks, a lot of sun valleys. They seem to be popular. Exclamation. Frontier elm, and then I had a Coosa dogwood also.
So you can tell the difference. The ones who have called in are generally more smaller,
Yeah, they
tree
tend to be the
lawns?
more the
where you
ornamentals.
have to watch the heights a little bit more, and then you had some more wider open yard space in the center
Right.
road area, so you could do a few more green mountain sugars, and so it's a good mix.
And a lot of the maples are based on the site too.
Yeah,
What's going to grow well there.
a lot of oaks. That was one. Which,
Should have a few magnolias too, yeah.
Some of those were on
That was
Martinsburg.
Martinsburg Road. Okay. All right, very good. So you know what to do. You got to flag them.
Yep.
Are we putting the names on the flags when we're doing TCP?
It helps.
It helps.
We can do that.
So that would be when you make your flags, put the name of the tree on it.
Okay.
Don't ask me to do it. You'd never read what it said. Okay. Anything else along those lines before I bring something else up? I forgot to ask Scott how many hours he had in. Let's give him 80. No.
Yeah, and he's actually said because of the weather, he's
Yeah, he backed
delaying
off.
it a little bit to November.
He usually does about 40. We'll give him 30. Any more questions about grants, TCPs, or things we talked about so far? Okay. Quentin, you want to talk a little bit about B-City?
Okay, so as Scott mentioned, we did the burn last Wednesday. It didn't go 100% as planned. There's still a lot of goldenrod that's left, and goldenrod is pretty well known in the native prairie world for being almost a native invasive. It's native, it's not bad, but it just really can take over a prairie really easily if you don't stay ahead of it. So there's a couple things from the research we've done that we can do. At this point, it looks like one of the best options is actually trying to collect the seed somehow, whether that's using like a leaf sucker, which I've talked around and that doesn't really seem like the best option, or using a bagger. So we might be looking at renting or hiring somebody that has a commercial size bagger to basically go through and mow down the goldenrod and bag up as much as the seed. The seeds are really fluffy, like dandelion seeds. So if we tried to use the leaf sucker, the main concern was that they would just fly right back out while we suck them in. And if we tried to actually enclose the boxes for the sucker trucks, then we wouldn't get enough airflow through and they would just stop sucking and it just wouldn't work. So it looks like the bagging is going to be the best option. And then there's a mowing prescription that we can do over the next couple of years to help with that too. So there's like a 6-inch mow in June, and then you mow it to a foot in August. Do that for 2 years, and it is supposed to do a really good job of getting rid of the goldenrod, but only setting back the other prairie grasses and flowers just a little bit. To Doc's dismay, what we realized during the burn was that one of the reasons that the goldenrod didn't burn as well is because of the lack of tall grasses. So the areas where we did have a lot of tall grass and there was goldenrod in the mix, the tall grass burned up and all of the goldenrod seeds disappeared. In the areas where it was just wildflowers and there weren't a lot of tall grasses, the fire stayed low and it didn't burn up to get the goldenrod, which is 6, 7, 8 feet high sometimes. So the mix that we're purchasing, I shouldn't say we, that Aerial Foundation Park is purchasing, does have some tall grasses in it, and that should help with that. The idea would be that it would be a mix, right? It's not just going to be one prairie full of grass, but we should have some tall grasses in there. So you'll see patches of it here and there, and that is really important to have fuel for the burn, it seems, from just our anecdotal experience last week. Another thing, Jason Bennett and I, Jason's done most of the work, have been out to the Harcourt Road area that was cleared last year where the Taj Mahal was, as it's been affectionately called. He's planted a couple hundred acorns. I think they were swamp white oak acorns. And we went out a couple weeks ago, maybe it was just last weekend before last. We planted several pawpaw. Gosh, I can't even remember all the different.
No, these
Things we
were
planted.
the donated trees.
These were just seeds that he had
Oh.
collected himself.
Oh, wow.
Nothing's been really donated yet. This is all stuff he's collected on his own. Pawpaw, the swamp white oaks. Man, I wish he was here because I can't for the life of me remember everything. But he has a tally of roughly how many seeds we've planted. We are still waiting to hear back about a private donation to use to purchase some additional trees in addition to the ones that are being donated for that area. I don't know how many cages we would need. It looked like we only have 39 of them left, so I don't know if Shade Tree is interested in purchasing more that we could borrow for that. But I'll find out exactly how much we think we would need for that area.
Are they trees or are they seeds?
So we planted seeds for trees, and then we are having trees donated and would like to purchase trees. So we're doing a mix of both.
Can we see this from, where is this visible? If
From
I,
the bend.
You'll be able to
On the
see
back
some
of
of it. Yeah. The majority of the area we seeded is probably not in the visible area because the seeds that we were planting were shrubs. The pawpaw is something that would do really well down near the water and mostly for erosion control. So the area that was cleared out wasn't just there at the toe of the slope and on the bank. It was all the way down. There was a lot of honeysuckle that was removed. So we're trying to get ahead of just basically overseeding the area as much as we can with anything that would keep the honeysuckle from coming back. And then hopefully planting some things in those areas too. It's been requested by ODOT to not plant too much too close to the road. They'd like us to stay out of their right of way. So we'll be planting some smaller stuff. I think we spread some dogwood seed and some other things. I shouldn't say spread. We actually scratched the ground and put them in closer to the toe of the slope there where you would be able to see it. But for the most part, any of the bigger trees, we're going to be planting them back farther.
and so you might need tree guards.
Yes. Yeah. The thought is that this isn't going to be an area that we can really patrol and nobody's down there. There's definitely a lot of deer traffic in the area just from what we've seen. Anywhere you have a bridge typically has a lot of deer traffic because that's how they get across a road is they use the bridge.
And is this technically the park? Or not?
This is technically not even in city limits yet.
So where is this?
It's off of
Oh, this is on Harcourt Road, right when if you're going out of town, you cross over the bridge on the Kokosing.
Uh-huh.
And then if 229 is on your right at the light, you look down at the left.
Oh,
And it's that
got it.
area that was cleared out just last spring.
Got it.
Where that big homeless camp was.
Yep.
The Taj Mahal.
Yeah, there's been a lot of requests. I shouldn't say a lot. There've been a few requests, people that wanted us to put grass in there and keep it clear and visible so that people wouldn't be able to camp in there. And I think we've just decided administratively that's not practical. We are trying to limit the amount of mowing that we're doing, not expand it. And that area is gonna just be overcome with honeysuckle again if we don't do a really good job of maintaining it.
So, how could we help with tree guards?
We have them.
We have 87,
Once they get the trees in,
but we're gonna need some of those too.
well,
Wait, we have 39 fence cages. That's what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think the cages are more along what
and
would be
actually,
beneficial for us.
we have another 25 of them. None of our quaking aspen made it this year. Or 26. I
The ones
forget
that
how
were
many.
planted up at the,
The one
With
up
the
in
Girl
Arboretum,
Scouts.
yeah.
not
I
a
was up
single
there-
one?
I was up there last week, wasn't one that made it.
But they were little tiny things.
Yeah, they were just sticks. The Girl Scouts planted those, so we'll try that again. And then on the chestnuts, we planted 98 of those. We've got 58 that survived. So we have more cages. John just hasn't pulled them in yet.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know. I'll send out an email when I know exactly how much we would think we need.
And the other thing that he sent out last month at our meeting was the list of desirable and undesirable trees, and I liked it.
Yeah.
That was great.
I
So
liked it,
we
too.
can maybe formally, at
Did-
some point,
did you see
decide
that?
to
I
adopt
did not
that.
see that list.
Yeah, I think we'd probably wait for the next meeting.
Okay.
There's a little bit of an Easter egg in there that I didn't even catch till I was reading afterward. There's actually a tree that's on both lists.
Oh, good.
Which
Well,
one
So
was
maybe
that?
you guys can read that again
It's a
and find out
government
what
thing,
tree
huh?
that is.
It's a government
It's
thing.
not impossible for a tree to be on both lists because there's caveats. The desirable trees are what we're saying are desirable for tree lawns, and undesirable trees we're generally saying we just don't.
So you
want
caught that
these.
your own editing?
I found that in reading it actually like a couple of days after the meeting that we had, and
Very funny. I'll look for that.
I thought I'd just wait to see if any of you noticed it, but apparently nobody else noticed it.
I
So
didn't notice it.
Well, I will.
Yeah, we will now.
you'll find it
I
now.
will look now.
We'll check you now. We'll have to check your work more
Okay.
often.
Yeah. Yeah. Other than that, we're still trying to really come up with how we want to do the ditch on Beach Street. We've got some ideas. Our main concern is that any seed we put down will wash out in a big rain, and it's going to be really hard to get in there and do anything because it's wet. It's really wet. So we're running through some things, but I don't think anything that Shade Tree does as far as the plantings go will affect the future pollinators that we would plant in there. So
And they did go out and harvest quite a few seeds. You have a nice pile of seeds.
yeah, we harvested a lot of seeds. Doc harvested a ton of milkweed seed as well from behind the Kiwanis Pavilion, and we plan on just doing that a lot more. So
Yeah. Yeah, I gave him a gallon bag of seed, and I have spread a gallon bag up on the west side of that area. I want it to grow. Well, I'm glad it took several years to get where we are with that. I'm pleased with where it is.
Yep.
We really have a good crop going. So, yeah, the chestnuts and the quaking aspen was something I was going to talk about other than this, but they just came up. So, John, it looked like we lost all 25 of the quaking aspen in the arboretum. So those cages could be pulled. And then we lost about 40 of the chestnuts. So I'm thinking there's no reason to keep the cages on those either. So if you guys get a chance. More work. Aren't you glad you came back?
It'll be more work for me 'cause I'm done.
You're done?
oh, they don't know.
I'm going to the park or street department.
Oh, you are?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Who's taking over?
I don't know, they just posted it today.
Okay.
So it'll be
Oh,
maybe a month before you know.
Okay. Well, you were going to help me with the fence there on Shelmar Park.
It's still good.
That's part of that. Is that going to turn to a street park, the park, since you're going to streets?
Yeah, we're going to do a joint.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't know. I think I mentioned that with you guys before, the fence between the railroad track and Shelmar Park, they're gonna take that down. They're gonna clean it out. Scott's gonna spray the crud out of it, and then we'll put a new fence up in there. Next spring, hopefully, we'll have a new fence up in there. Well, is it an upgrade, or just a lateral, or
Just a lateral.
just a
more or
lateral?
less.
Okay, well, good.
I will miss knowing you're in the Parks Department, helping us.
You still have the same phone number so I can call you? Good. I'll call you. Okay, so, like I said, we lost some of the chestnuts. We can get someone out there to get the cages and get them in the pile. The quaking aspen, I was very disappointed that those,
I haven't been out there for what happened to them.
I walked out through there and every cage is, they mowed it. They did a really great job of mowing this year. It really looks nice up in there. And then I walk out and I look and every cage is just full of weeds and there was sticks, dead sticks in it. And I know we had buckets on those. They were watering them. So I don't know what happened. So I thought we need to try that again, but maybe we need to put in bigger trees and put in just a few each year until we get the grove, instead of trying to do it all at once. I like the idea of doing it all at once, but it didn't appear to work. Maybe you'll go up there and see it differently and see something that's still there. I was there weekend before last. I walked.
Still should have had some leaves then.
Yeah, that's why I thought I better do it before the leaves go. That's how I got my chestnut count and and I went up in there.
Are you sure they got water?
They have buckets on them. We had the crew up in there.
It was the dance.
Pardon me?
It was the dance.
No, we did the dance.
No, maybe we didn't do it right.
We had those girls doing the dance. They all did pretty good. Yeah, I'm disappointed in that it didn't work out for them, but we'll do it again for that group. We'll do something up there for them. Well, hey, we got that in record time. So we have one more meeting this year. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, who puts in for the grant for the watering?
Well, I do.
Or Quentin does.
You need to add to it. You need more money.
How
Oh.
much?
I'd say another month's worth of wages.
Because of the month of October just being drier. Yeah, I agree.
Plus, you gotta figure they gotta go take all them bags off, clean them, put them away.
And they really, we had hot months. We had a drought again, or drought conditions. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I mean, just for a buffer.
Especially if
Yeah.
we keep putting so many darn trees in.
So we'll add 25%.
Okay, thanks for
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that
mentioning
up
that.
because I hadn't thought about that. But you had a good crew this year.
Any sign that they'll come back?
Maybe.
All right. We have one more meeting this year. We do not meet in December. So when we meet again, it will be right after Thanksgiving. So we'll just make sure we have all our numbers. Everybody's up on what's going on. We'll have all our projects hammered down, nailed down what we're going to do. And we'll go through and make sure everybody's up on what the final is. And then we'll organize getting flags out where need be. And then, since I got a couple more minutes, Arbor Day comes up in April. Last year we did Twin Oak. Any ideas of school you guys would like to try? Yeah, that's my idea too. I don't know.
What if we? I had some things that we were planting at the middle school. I just wondered if we delayed anything until.
Then do it as part of Arbor Day. We did Arbor Day there with the middle school and the high school when we did that row of oaks, and we did all those other trees when they put in the outdoor education area, their little pavilion where they do their outdoor stuff. And the high school, we had 6 kids come out for, and the middle school, 1 class came out.
We're talking about putting some sienna. Well, I'll tell you exactly.
You're talking about down in front, right?
Oh, yeah. Let me just find that.
And when I say came out, they came out and we talked about trees and we did the tree dance and that was it. There was no projects or anything like that, like with the grade school. And I like the projects. I think the kids do a great job. It was fun last year that we did it on Earth Day, and I think it must have been the kindergarten class. They all made little hats that said Earth Day, and they wore them during the program.
So we're talking about 3 Sienna Glen maples along the pathway that goes from the upper deck down.
Between the 2 buildings?
Between the 2 buildings. We have 3 on the one slope. We took out a Norway maple and we're putting in another Sienna Glen on the other side and some Harvest Gold crab apples closer to the building where some old pines had come out.
Down by the library windows?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So there's some trees going in there if you wanted to. And then all along the tree lawn between the parking lots and the high school, there's some exclamation.
Oh, and that green space between the 2
Yes,
parking
we
lots?
took out a declining maple there.
Okay.
And then central offices has some things going in too. So I don't know that anyone's going to central offices kid-wise, but you could piggyback on one of those projects for Arbor Day.
Okay.
There's also the Knox Learning Center. We removed a couple of trees in front of the school for the bus pull-off that we're putting in there. I don't know if they have room, but
Oh, that's the old West School.
yep.
We had some arborvitae, or not, We have some crabapple down there in that one, down here at the west end. Remember the school when we put the couple in the playground and we redid around their front door? Didn't we put some crabapple in that area? Is that what they took, where they took them out?
We took a couple bigger trees down.
Okay.
We're also putting a Big John at Knox DD in their outdoor classroom. And that's kids.
Oh, that might be fun.
That would be
See,
fun.
I was wondering about the DD groups.
That's, we're putting in quite a few trees there, but specifically there's a Big John oak going in the back there, so that could be a fun
In the
place.
that could be fun.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea.
Okay,
I like that. Okay.
okay.
I got a couple trees we need to talk about taking down.
Yeah, where's that?
Where they put the splash pad in, there's two big fern trees there, spruce.
Are those the trees your grandpa planted? What were those?
Yeah.
What was the name of those trees? They start with an L? I know, I put you on, lurch,
Large.
larch,
Yeah.
large trees. I wondered how many of those need to come out.
The two.
The two big ones definitely need to come out,
Okay.
because they're just gonna create problems down the road with that splash pad.
Amber, do you know the timeline for the splash pad?
When
When they're gonna break ground, kind of?
we were supposed to break ground this fall, so I don't know where we're at with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not out to bid yet. We're trying to do like I guess an unveiling in early December.
Okay.
Basically, hey, these are the final plans, and then, so it would go to bid in January. It would ideally be a spring project to be open some point in the summer for use.
So would it be better to have the big trees down before we do the unveiling?
No,
I don't
because
think that's necessary at all.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that you need the trees down until early spring.
Okay. So we could put that on next year's tree removal list?
And why are we taking them down? Because we need,
So, the litter, really, from the trees is going to be a big problem. The way that the splash pad works is it recirculates all of the same water. So you've got like little drains within it. It's collecting it and recirculating it, and those pine needles are just going to eat up the pumps. They're going to eat up the piping. It's going to be really bad.
Yeah, let's say trees in general around the splash pad
Yeah,
are a problem.
Well, and those trees have been there
I better go take a look at them.
100 years.
They're right close to 100. They're kind of,
You mentioned them, we were talking about them
they're
not that
beautiful
long
trees.
ago.
They really are. But the only other, we would have to move the splash pad somewhere.
I would move the
fairly
splash pad.
We have
Yeah, I didn't decide to put it there in the first place.
Hey, when we were looking at the designs, I had no idea we had to take down a tree, so
Yeah.
Well, then we'll blame you then, okay.
everyone does.
You got brought to, just add me to your list, huh? All right. Well, we'll have to go out and look at that and
Yeah,
and
I
talk
would
about it.
really, well.
Yeah, we hate cutting them down, don't we? Especially if they're healthy.
And unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Because our diversity.
You got a bigger spade?
not that big.
Yeah.
Is that a tree that we could plant somewhere, replace somewhere else with that type of tree just to keep the diversity? Is that something that's still available? Is it
I
still-
think they probably are available, but I think they're kind of a tree that's kind of come and gone.
Okay.
Because they are kind of a messy tree. And you know, they were I think kind of a popular landscape tree back 75 years ago. That's kind of, there's better trees now.
All right.
Okay, next time we're driving around,
We'll stop down
I
there
need
and
to go
look.
look at it. Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for your help. It's been, we have a new member. I just off on my own little world here.
That's okay.
She showed up for the last meeting and we didn't scare her off. And then we just sat and talked with the mayor and I tried like heck to scare her off.
You
But
did
she
try.
kept coming up with ideas, so it's like, okay, I think she might be a sticker.
Make an official idea.
Would you like to just introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about?
My name is Laura De Leon. I moved to Mount Vernon last May, year ago May. wanted to find a charming, smaller town to hopefully make a difference in, and hopefully this will be a path to do that.
Very
I'm
good.
excited to be here.
What's your background?
My background is kind of all over the place, mostly in hospitality. I used to work with a band on tour, and I was kind of like band mom, not groupie. More like band mom. So I've kind of run the gamut with all things service related and hospitality.
Very good. Are you currently working?
I am working at Baxter's, and then I'm actually starting at the Alcove tomorrow. So very close by.
So you have some flexibility.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
We all have a little bit.
Write down your number for me and I'll
Perfect.
include you.
Judy, do you have her on the new list? Judy will send out a list with everybody's
Yes.
emails.
Apparently you're on. Apparently you're on. There we go. There you are.
Yeah, I got
You're just handing them out. No, I don't have one.
She exists.
I do.
And then, something.
Do you need one too, Dwayne?
In our onboarding with the mayor, one of the things that,
Thank you, sir.
that came up that I wanted to mention was, our city email. Part of the, accountability, I guess, or sunshine laws here within the city. If there's ever a record request, our city email is where that would come from. So we're going to try to keep all our shade tree business on our city email.
I was gonna note, for some reason mine has both, so if people wanna cross out my personal.
Which one's
For
which?
some reason, what's obvious that the city one is the Mount Vernon.
I've never gotten my city one to work.
Quentin can help you with that.
We can try to reset your password for you.
Yeah, because I've tried and it just doesn't.
Yeah, I think if you don't set it within 48 hours, it goes to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll try to keep all the shade tree stuff on that email.
Okay. Not to push anyone out, but it is trick or treat night and I've got a lot to do, so
Actually, I agree.
we gotta get moving on our next thing
Yep.
that we have.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Pastor Mike.
You want to pass that back
Actually, I
down?
gotta go
Thank you.
Pick up kids.
finish up one more thing. I think.
Oh, thanks, Amber. Thank you.
I'm not officially on the board, but I'm.
Oh, she's our liaison
I'm gonna
at
head
city
out.
council, and she really does a great job for us.
Nice to meet you again.
Or
Put my long johns on.
I would, but I can't. I bailed on your party.
why can't you do it?
I bailed on the Republican Party. It's not the party I
You know, the sad
once
part
was.
is, I'm to the point where I'm currently
Baby
Republican,
chick depends.
but I'm
Got
more
to look the red fall.
anti-gun.
Oh, that's a nice color, isn't it?
The yellow one there.
I know
you
it sounds
see
crazy,
usually
but
the
I
fall
just-
color, but I tried to get some acorns that were red fall color.
Those will look good here eventually.
And then some bur oaks.
Nice and
fall
red
color.
too.
You'd hardly ever see a bur oak red. So.
Very good.
I do want to know what the tree dance is.
You'll find
I
out.
want to find out.
Stick around, you'll find out. The tree dance came around in 2018. The International Society of Agriculture.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Did their international meeting in Columbus, Ohio. And part of the thing was they have a fundraiser called Tour de Trees. And they ride the bikes. Well, they rode from Columbus to Cleveland.
Yeah, it's also just those people down.
During the one stop, they planted a
Red fall color on that.
river birch. Brian came in with a
Yellow one is
spade.
normal.
Right.
Put this thing, and everybody's like, oh my God, and it was just a really cool thing. Well, they did a tree dedication, and he called it the tree dance. And we just did a tree dance, and I thought, God, I love
Right.
this, and I've
So is
done
this
it every
something that
day,
you
every
mix,
time
or
I
is
get
this
something
something
Is it
that's
like just free form?
Flying acorns for the
Right.
baby birds.
I've had